This is my part 1 video of the Meissner phono recorder. Now off camera I brought up the power very slowly using my solid state rectifier in place of the rectifier tube, just to make sure that the electrolytics weren't going to just heat up and blow up. And they didn't. This thing works somewhat, but I needed to do that to evaluate, do I want to go ahead with trying to restore this item. And the reason I say that is because the Zenith 420 radio I worked on, boy, that one really kind of slapped me in the face. I'm not giving up on it, mind you, but it became what they call the proverbial opened up a pail of worms on that one. But I powered it up. Now what I'm doing is I'm watching the current, and the current is quite low. So it's actually working on its original parts sort of okay.
There's more and more of these stories now that are coming out.
Microphone. You know, this thing is really interestingly designed. It's designed so that you could record something off the radio and actually put in your own comments on top of it, just by adjusting the second volume control.
You know, those little CDC paper cards. So this is
the radio
another real battleground.
It's not very sensitive, but then again, I'm using original capacitors on this. Now, there's a couple things I needed to look at, and that's why I've got it powered up now. I know already, I'm sure the static crystal, it's a given that the crystal phono cartridge is going to have to be rebuilt. That's a given. But the thing that I needed to look at is to see if the cutter head needs to be rebuilt. So let me put this on phono playback, turn on the record player, and let's listen. Surprisingly, it actually still works somewhat. But, like I say, somewhat. I noticed my current went up, but that's from the motor running. The motor is drawing a little bit extra current. So, that phono cartridge will work very well if I send it to Westech and have them rebuild it, which that's what I would be considering to do, but there's something else I need to look at. So let me take this off, turn the motor off. Now I'm going to put it on record radio. Now first, let me tune to a loud station.
Recent study includes something like 13 million American homeowners could benefit from refinancing.
It's not very loud, and you got to remember it's original wax capacitors in there. But what I want to do right now is to see if I'm getting anything out to the record head. So we go over to record radio. And I should be able to feel it. And I don't. So that means that the record head has to be rebuilt. I kind of thought that. I'll have to investigate how much that. I think Westech also rebuilds those. But no, there's nothing at the record head. And I don't know if replacing capacitors will do that or not. Let me go to public address on it, if I can find the setting. Hello test. Hello test. Hello test. Well, the microphone works somewhat. So that's where I'm at. So I'm in the decision mode right now. Do I want to put the money in this? I think the phono cartridge and rebuilding of that head, that's going to be a pricey. I don't think that's going to be very cheap. That's a lot of money. And is it worth it to me to do that just for my fun of playing with this? I don't know. Considering that it works pretty decent on original components, I have to think it over. But for now, I'm not very sure if there's going to be a part 2 video on it. I'm still thinking about that Zenith that didn't work out for me and thinking what I'm going to do with that. But that's where I am at right now with this Meissner phono recorder. So here I am with the Meissner record recorder. I've completely recapped it. Here are the two 15 at 450 volt electrolytics. They replace this can right here. And then these two cans were 10 mics at 25 volts. And here they all are. There's one up here, very small. One right here, and here, and here. So I'm thinking this thing should perform better. You know, some of these capacitors, oh, this electrolytic too, this was mounted down over this in this direction, but I mounted the 8 mic electrolytic up where you see it. Presumably it'll at least perform a little bit better. Let me just power it up. And I got it set to radio.
Sprinkles and flurries and deception.
Rolling with Baker Mayfield.
The low high you get
40%, 70.
Fortunately, fear can stop you from getting your kit.
And now we've added match every $50.
Down you
Very quick.
and hope that he can just kind of play through his struggles right now.
Well, it really
injury. Last night was really bad. Maybe if you
it really tunes a lot of stations. I got to get it back in the case now and go to the next phase of what I'm going to do to this thing, which could be pretty expensive actually. But the capacitors really did make a big difference compared to what it was like before. So I'm going to put it together. I got to see if I can find a pilot light for this. That light's burned out, to see if I can find something. I lubed up the motor as best as I could. We'll see how this thing works when I get it back in the case. So I've recapped the Meissner record recorder, and the radio tunes and works just fine. It's a little scratchy at one end. I think that's because the connection between the movable plates is a little bit dirty. And to clean that, you literally got to take everything apart. I replaced there's a new pilot light in it, dial light. I replaced that, and that was difficult to get at, to replace that bulb, but I got a new bulb in there. Now the record player does play, except the cartridge is almost dead. You hear that hum when I turn it all the way up. I'm hoping this record I got on here is not going to be flagged by the YouTube algorithms. I just play part of it, but I have to turn the volume all the way up to hear it. I have a lot of Victor Red Seal records. I think that's an early 40s recording. Surprisingly, the rubber parts in this, the idler wheels, the motor mounts, that rubber is all good. I can't understand how that rubber didn't get hard and hard as a rock. It's absolutely still serviceable. I didn't have to replace any rubber parts in it. The idler wheels for the turntable. The only thing I've done with it so far is I've recapped the radio amplifier. So the next step is, that will come up in a part 2 video, is I'm going to send the 2 cartridges out, the record cartridge and the playback cartridge. That's an expensive undertaking, but I feel I'm into it this far, I might as well go all the way. The thing about these home record recorders, they're becoming quite rare. Most of them ended up in landfills and junk. So I'm kind of thinking that I'm at least preserving some history on this. There are other YouTubers that have the same machine that made videos of it. So at least there's a few of them around. But I thought it was worthwhile to go out and get this thing and to kind of restore it. So my next video will start when I get the new cartridge or the rebuilt cartridges back in, and we'll see how it plays, and then I'll see if I can make a record.